All right, here we go. Guys, Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson, sit down. Want to react to it. I can't endorse Nick Fuentes officially because I'll become unemployed. I do endorse free speech. I think that my people have been through a lot. Melanated people in general across the world, the global south, have been through a lot. And a part of that was a lack of the right to exercise free speech and exercise rights politically. So I think that taking that right away is excruciating to imagine, because I can already, I struggle to imagine what my ancestors went through. So I don't want to exert that onto other people by enforcing cancel culture and stuff like that. I'm just vehemently against that. So I'm glad that Tucker Carlson is taking on extremists and letting them sit down and speak. And I'm ready to react and offer a neutral opinion on this.
Nick Fuentes, thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I wanted to meet you. I've heard about you.
I've heard about you.
So, well, thank you. I want to understand what you believe.
So I'm glad he's doing that. That's a very noble thing for him and Piers Morgan to do. And right off the bat, I want to say, Fuentes, this is what's alarming, right? If you're unexposed to the right wing at all politically, Nick Fuentes seems to be,
And I want to give you a chance.
he seems to be a presentable young man, right? And he's espousing these extremist ideas of white nationalism. So,
Nick,
this is not some redneck hillbilly, right? I'm not trying to be offensive when I say that, but this seems to be an educated, well put together guy, young. This is not a 70-year-old grandpa whose dad was in the KKK. Or you know what I mean? He was probably maybe in there. That's not what we're seeing here. We're seeing a guy who is young and believes in white nationalism. So I think that already will create some cognitive dissonance for people and say, okay, so what is this about? I thought we were past that. I can't fathom how somebody this age could have these beliefs. So let's get into it and see why that might be.
Fuentes, thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I wanted to meet. Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
That just sucks. First of all, I didn't realize Tucker Carlson was this country. I thought he was some schmuck elitist from the Northeast. So, I guess, I don't know if he's cosplaying or LARPing or what, but that was an interesting contradiction to the opinion I had of him.
So you watch PragerU videos?
Oh, yeah. I was in the Prager Force.
What's that?
It's a Facebook group for college kids, and they promote the PragerU videos.
Wow.
To the college students and high school students.
So you really were a product of the moment.
Absolutely.
And how'd you feel about Trump?
Well, initially, I didn't like Trump. When the primary started in 2015, I considered him to be a statist.
Yeah.
Which sounds so ridiculous now.
No, a lot of people thought that.
Yeah. And I was a libertarian, so I saw him as a big government, 1990s liberal. When he was asked about healthcare, he said, well, we'll take care of everybody. And I said,
Interesting libertarian. I guess at the point, if he's a white nationalist now, he was a libertarian at that point, wouldn't libertarianism kind of lend itself to be more of an egalitarian, everybody fend for themselves type of deal? I don't see where white nationalism fits in there, to be honest, if you look at the ideology. But hey, he's a white nationalist now. And I don't necessarily, I'm not going to jump to conclusions, right? Everybody has a right to their own opinion. That's all I'm going to say.
I tweeted to Ben Shapiro. I said, I've never seen anything on the Daily Wire that's actually critical of Israel. And he quote tweets me. And at this time, I have 1,000 followers on Twitter.
How old are you?
I'm 18. I'm a
You're still a freshman in college, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this is even before I started my show. And
I mean, that just shows you one thing. Being politically aware at the age of 18 and saying something meaningful enough to be quote tweeted by Ben Shapiro. This guy's ahead of the curve, right? Like, I mean, I'm 28. I'm probably just getting to the level that this guy was at 18 in terms of political awareness and knowledge. So, and by the way, I'm very familiar with Fuentes' stance on Israel. So, I'm interested in let's just say we may be aligned on certain things, but it's interesting that a white nationalist here would be in anti what is probably a colonial effort, right? So I mean, it just shows it's an independent thinker. We can conclude that for sure. At least that's how I feel. But yeah.
Or like daily for a lot of us, as a way to kind of make themselves unassailable or immune from criticism, or to attack their enemies. Your words inspired violence. What is doxxing?
I mean, good Lord.
Spastic terror. I can't even pronounce it. It's like some academic term, whatever. But you had a real assassination attempt, like an actual one, which got no publicity that I recall. What happened?
yeah, well, it was after the election last year. I put out this tweet and I said, "Your body, my choice" on election night. And, I wasn't, look, I'm not going to apologize for it, but I thought it was like a weak, it's like a lame joke. It's kind of like the most obvious turn of
It's
phrase.
a college joke. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
So I had other good jokes that night, but that was like the one.
Assassination attempt, like
I missed the joke. I want to listen to this again.
an actual one, which got no publicity that I recall. What happened?
Yeah, well, it was after the election last year. I put out this tweet and I said, "Your body, my choice" on election night. And, I wasn't.
Terrible thing to say. Can't really say it. I mean, I guess
Look,
he says it's a joke. I think jokes do get taken too seriously in the modern day. You can't say that, though. I mean, you're a college kid who's really checking, right? But you can't say that.
I'm not going to apologize for it, but I thought it was like a weak, it's like a lame joke. It's kind of like the most obvious turn of
It's
phrase.
a college joke. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
So I had other good jokes that night, but that was like the one that caught on because I just think it captured the imagination of liberals who were like, it's over for us,
Right,
which
yeah.
it kind of is, but in some ways. But so I put that out there. I didn't even vote for Trump, but I put that tweet
Who'd you
out.
vote for?
I didn't vote at all. I just recused myself. But
I respect that. I don't vote at all as a matter of principle. But, I think that's the only right thing to do personally. Like, when you have such a fucked up political system that's so bipolar and so dichotomous, you can't have a middle ground. You can't have multiple opinions where you can pick, probably somebody who has a platform that's similar to what you think. You have to pick one extreme, and it's very polarized these days, and there's very little center balance. It's tough to participate in. And also, it's an easily manipulable system. You're just gaming millions of people by scamming them through the news. You know what I mean? It's just a joke. I don't vote.
That's just what makes it ironic, because I became in some ways emblematic of the election, even though I didn't participate. But so it got 100 million impressions on Twitter, and people were saying on the news that kids were saying it in school. It was on like the news that in middle schools and high schools, the boys were saying that to the girls, "Your body, my choice." So it became this thing where it's like, he's creating this toxic environment for women. So the internet lost its mind, and people then started posting my address online because they were so unhappy with the tweet. And so on TikTok and on Twitter, a screenshot of my address, my phone number, all my personal information, it went viral. And when I say viral, I mean there were multiple tweets that got 20 million views with my whole readout, all my information.
Like your actual address where you spend the night.
Yes, where I live, where I do my show, all of it.
Damn, did you know that?
Yeah, I started to see it. So the election Tuesday, obviously.
That's crazy. That's just unacceptable. You can't do that, right? You can't put a guy's address online, and you shouldn't. It's not the moral thing to do, no matter what he said. But yeah, that's insane.
It was like Thursday that my address starts blowing up. I was going to do a show Friday, and someone shows up to my house. Some weird looking guy shows up to my house and just walks through the yard, walks through the gangway into the backyard, and is just circling my house and then goes away. So we call the cops, me and my producer, and we said, maybe we shouldn't do a show tonight. And that weekend, we hired private security just for the weekend, like 200
You didn't
people.
have security
No, I don't have security. Well, I didn't then.
of any kind.
I didn't have cameras or anything, even. I had nothing.
Okay.
I was raw dogging it. Yeah, which was not smart, maybe, but never had a problem like that.
I've always
Oh man.
lived that way too.
Yeah. But so that weekend, we hired a security guard just to park his car outside the house and monitor things. Literally 200 people came.
To your house.
Yes, not all at once, but one after the other. Driving by, yelling, walking by, throwing eggs. Multiple people threw eggs at my house, ordering pizzas, ordering DoorDash, whatever, walking through the gangway. It was like a war zone. Like this security guard was yelling at people all night, and it went on all weekend. And then it went on throughout the next week and the next weekend.
Like, I hope people realize how deranged they are. Going to a guy's house that you've never met because he said something on the internet. That's deranged. That's deranged.
And it was bad. I got out of my house. I went to a hotel for a week while this was happening, waited for it to blow over.
Do your show from the hotel?
No, I took a week off.
Wow.
Just
Did
to
you
let it-
announce any of this in public?
No, I had to keep it very,
Why?
I didn't want to track more of it,
Yeah.
because if you say, oh, they're here, then people go, oh, no, we got to keep up the pressure,
Right.
or turn it up. And people at that time were talking about burning my house down. Like on TikTok, there were viral videos of people saying, we're going to burn his house down.
Like, you should be able to shoot people like that. If they trespass on your property, obviously that's illegal. You get sued, you go to jail. But you should be able to do that, bro. Like, come on. People got to learn, dude. And people, that's not acceptable behavior. It's just not.
And then they doxed my parents' address. People were showing up to my parents' house. It got really bad. And eventually it just blew over. About a month passed. And at that time, so it was like late December. It's actually funny. It was December 18th. I remember because that's an important date to me.
Why?
And it's Joseph Stalin's birthday.
Oh.
I'm a fan.
You're a fan of Stalin's.
Always an admirer. But we don't need to go into that, I guess.
I don't know anything about Stalin, but this guy's a troll to say that. I mean, he's clearly just trying to get people to react.
Well, that's okay. Let's get back.
Well,
We'll circle back to that.
It was weird because the reason I mentioned that, it was almost like, because I woke up that day and I was like, oh, it's December 18th. And I was just like very acutely aware of like, today's like a strange day. This is the day that the attempt happened.
And thinking back to his intro, I should have known. His name is Tucker Carlson. Should have known he was a country guy.
And so nothing had been happening for weeks at this point.
I'm not gonna drop the slur for that, but
Right. So the election's like what, November 3rd, month and a half has passed. Nobody's coming to my house anymore, rarely. And I'm doing my show like normal. And I'm reaching the end of the show and I see out of the corner of my eye, I get an alert from my Ring doorbell camera that somebody's at the front door. And so I'm reading through my super chats. I'm going through live
You're
chat
on the air.
messages. Yeah, I'm live. And, I'm working through the messages and I'm keeping an eye on it. And I see that this guy has a loaded gun. The guy's
Sorry,
standing.
laugh.
Yeah, well,
So you're live, and you
Yes.
see that there's a guy with a gun outside your door.
yes. He's got a motorcycle helmet.
that's insane. I mean, that is just unacceptable. Over politics, guys, really? Hope that guy's in jail. Like, what the fuck?
And a backpack. He's got a gun drawn and he's knocking on the door yelling. And the thing is, I didn't want to tip him off that I knew he was there because I thought, I don't want him to get the drop on me or something. I just didn't want to give him any information about, because I don't know if he's listening to my show if I start freaking out or cancel the show, I don't know, maybe he knows more about my movements inside. So I keep the show going for like a minute and I wrap it up very quickly. I finish the show. My producer comes running in and I say, "Who is that? What's going on?" And he goes, "Oh, I called the cops. They're here. The guy's gone." I said, "Okay, good." So I start getting changed out of my suit and I hear gunshots go off outside.
Damn.
Yeah. And I literally like jump to the ground because I'm like, I don't know what's happening here. And I step outside for a minute after the dust kind of settles, and there's like 10 cop cars all up and down the street, and they have the whole block locked down. Police tape everywhere. There's like a dozen cops. Like I said, the whole block is shut down. The alley is shut down. And they go, "Get back inside, get back inside." We have no idea what's going on. We have no idea what happened. And they wouldn't let me or my producer leave until the morning. That's how late they were there. And finally, at the end of the night, after all the cops left, I came out in the very early morning.
Did no one come and explain any of this to you?
No, nobody said anything. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I gotta listen to that again. That doesn't even sound right.
And I say, "Who is that? What's going on?" And he's got a gun drawn and he's knocking on the door yelling. Show, if I start freaking out or cancel the show, I don't know, maybe he knows more about my movements inside. So I keep the show going for like a minute and I wrap it up very quickly. I finish the show. My producer comes running in and I say, "Who is that? What's going on?" And he goes, "Oh, I called the cops. They're here. The guy's gone." I said, "Okay, good." So I start getting changed out of my suit and I hear gunshots go off outside.
Damn.
Yeah. And I literally like jump to the ground because I'm like, I don't know what's happening here. And I step outside for a minute after the dust kind of settles, and there's like 10 cop cars all up and down the street, and they have the whole block locked down. Police tape everywhere. There's like a dozen cops. Like I said, the whole block is shut down. The alley is shut down. And they go, "Get back inside, get back inside." We have no idea what's going on. We have no idea what happened. And they wouldn't let me or my producer leave until the morning. That's how late they were there. And finally, at the end of the night, after all the cops left, I came out in the very early morning.
Did no one come and explain any of this to you?
No, but
That's crazy, man. The government is just defaults to secrecy and hiding stuff. It's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. Opaqueness, no transparency. I mean, this is incredible. How are you not going to tell the guy that almost got shot?
he said anything.
You know what?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And finally, I go out in the
dangerous.
morning and I ask the guy,
That's incredibly dangerous. It's incredibly dangerous.
"Okay, what happened?" He told me the story. And so it turns out that it's this young guy. He's 23 years old, white, nerd, short guy. He was at U of I, University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign, about 2 hours south of where I live. He killed 3 people earlier in the day. He went to his roommate's house, college roommate's house, killed his roommate, killed the sister, the guy's mother, got in his car and drove directly to my house, parked outside my house, got out a .22 pistol and an automatic crossbow. Weird choice. And he knocked on the door, which is where I saw him. He went around the house. He tried the back door, tried the front door, and the cops pulled up. He took off running through the gangway, hopped the fence, ran into the neighbor's house.
That is insane. I mean, this is insane.
I guess he went into the neighbor's basement because the door was unlocked. He was hiding from the police. He shot 2 of their dogs, which is devastating. He runs back outside, and the cops see him. He shoots at the cops. The cops shot him in the face, and he dies on the spot.
Thank God. I mean, those people cannot. He can't be in a civil society, man. If he's doing shit like that, what he just described, if that's all real, that guy cannot. I mean, he's with God right now, or maybe maybe down below. But as long as he's not here, we're safer.
What was his motive?
They never told me. To this day, I have no idea.
They never told you?
No.
I mean, the motive is clear. He's anti Nick Fuentes and wanted you to die, buddy. It's not that complicated. Let's move on.
Describe the circumstances that have led to this violence. Like, how does a normal kid, young man, go from being a normal young man to being a murderer?
I think that it has a lot to do, if you read through all these stories, they always have a few things in common, which is that, and people have pointed this out, this is not new, SSRIs are always a big one.
Of course.
But what that points to is a depressive streak. It's always somebody that is a loner, socially dislocated, or socially dysfunctional. You know, they don't have many real life friends, engage in real life activities, slip through the cracks. That's always how it starts. Then they get into either they're medicated by a therapist with SSRIs, or they self-medicate, which is extremely common with alcohol, weed, which is extremely potent now, and you can get THC from like a vape pen. So it's very powerful, very accessible. You know, when I was in high school, my stoner friends would have to like go on a walk to the park and roll a joint. Now, with the vape, you can hit that anywhere, I guess.
Of course.
It's very discreet. They also do psychedelics. I think that's a huge part of it. And
How?
Yeah, I'm just going to openly say he's describing all things that I've done, and I haven't ended up committing acts of political violence, or, you know, I don't think that that's an excuse. I think some people are just deranged, and, you know, they're not instilled with enough values at an early age. I don't know, man. It's a problem, though. That is a problem. If you can be so up in arms about politics that you can go commit an act of violence which is not fruitful in any way, and if anything, it martyrs your opponent, I mean, you're a dummy. And you don't belong on Earth. You need to go. Jail is the only place. It's just insane. People are crazy as fuck.
How is that a huge part of it?
I think that a lot of them get turned on. They'll do alcohol, marijuana, and then I think they get into psychedelics like LSD or MDMA. And I think those things induce psychosis. These psychoact.
I don't believe that. I don't believe. I'm gonna go ahead and skip onto you know, these topics here. I want to comment on his weed and the corn. I'm going to stay away from toxic feminism because again, I want to remain employed.
It's interesting, your audience, as I imagine it, I've never seen any of your numbers. I don't even know how big your audience is. It seems big to me, but I think of them as young men. Mm-hmm. That's the bulk of your audience, right?
Yes.
And yet here you are criticizing weed and video games and the internet, and you work on the internet. You are a creation. I mean, you wouldn't exist without the internet, of course. You didn't get a job at NBC News. So what kind of reaction do you get when you criticize weed, gaming, and the internet to young men?
A lot of them agree with it because they get it. It's their life. A lot of them, that's their life. Their life is, and another thing we didn't even bring up is the porn thing, which is there also. This is their life. Weed, gaming, porn. And I think they know it's bad.
Agreed. That was my life at one point. And I could have been a loser for the rest of my life, or I could have shaped it up. And you guys see my channel, a big series of mine is semen retention and trying to stay away from sexual immorality and disciplining yourself in that regard. I think it's a huge, huge factor in success and male development. And the weed thing, obviously, that's like, if you're smoking weed, then what are you really going to accomplish? And yes, people, of course, are going to make excuses and be like, you know, weed's great. Weed helps me be creative, bro. Like, choke it up and like make some music, bro. But no, it doesn't, bro. It's not. Weed is trash. It's going to make you slower, dumber, fatter. Although actually it increases your metabolism. So there, I mean, look, but no, weed is trash. It's gonna cause paranoia. I mean, weed is not good for you in the long run, and it definitely holds you back. It's not a value add to your life. And you know, Nick Saban made a video, and Nick Saban did an interview about this, and he spoke about, is what you're doing. You know, one of the questions he asked some of his players is if they're fucking up, right? Is what you're doing going to create a value add? Is it gonna make you get closer to your goals, or is it just wasting your time? And weed is definitely one of those things. It's just a waste of time. And porn is definitely like one of the worst things for you.
I think they know there's like some sense of guilt. And so it's interesting. I would say it's maybe an 80-20 split, where 20% say oh, you're against weed? Not cool, man. It's just a plant. What, they're very defensive about it,
It's just a plant is ridiculous. I used to smoke so much weed. It's just all these defenses of weed are so ridiculous on their face. Like if you just listen to like people defend weed, it's ridiculous, man. There's no argument for weed. Weed is a net detriment to society and to the individual.
these addictions. And I think 80% say, I know I have a problem. Like I have a guilt.
It's just a plant. Poison ivy is a plant. How come you don't do poison ivy? Rub it all over your face. You know what I mean? Obviously, it doesn't make you feel good. Weed makes you feel good. Doesn't mean that just because it's a plant. What does that mean?
Guilty conscience. I know it's bad. I know it's terrible.
Why are you against weed?
Because I think that it's compromises the integrity of your mental faculties. I think there's something deeply wrong.
Agreed. At the end of the day, it's a mind-altering substance. I try to stay away from caffeine even. Because these substances that alter your mind, they don't give you clarity. They might have some effect that helps you or makes you feel better in the short run, but the mental clarity aspect of your long-term mental health gets compromised when you smoke weed or you do these things.
Wrong with that. When you, I'm against alcohol too. I think it's wrong to numb pain. I think pain is a part of life. I think.
I'm gonna go ahead and skip across, but yes, I agree with what he's saying. I think like numbing is stupid. I think that generally it's unproductive to do drugs. It's not going to help you solve any of your problems or get over them emotionally. It's just a band-aid at best, and it's going to ultimately lead to other side effects and detriments that you're not thinking of.
What is porn exactly? Like, describe how available is porn? What is it? I know what porn is, but like you said, it's a huge factor in the lives of young men and a bad factor. Why?
Well, this is another thing where it's reality distortion. That's kind of the theme. Just like psychedelics distort.
It's escapism. I think that's the term he's looking for. But yes, distortion as well.
Reality, just like a kind of internet society is a form of delusion, so is porn, in the sense that, a lot of people maybe don't realize, and we talked about this a little bit, people are getting turned on to porn when they're like 10 years old.
It happened to me.
And it's when you are going through puberty, when you're developing your sexual faculties, how could you stay away from that? Every kid has a phone, every kid has an iPad, and every iPad and phone is, if you know what it is, loaded up with porn. And it's
Agreed. It's too powerful.
infinite, and it's ubiquitous, and you can get every kind of it you want, whenever you want. It's in your pocket. And so something that is almost never talked about is that this is a generation that's totally sexually dysfunctional, I think, because of pornography. And some people are able to cope with it. Some people don't have a problem. But I think a lot of people, and maybe even a small minority, have a serious problem with it. And
Yeah.
the
I agree with what he's saying on this topic for sure.
Does it make people sexually dysfunctional?
I think that it's impossible for a real woman to compete with the availability and the novelty.
That's true. That's one aspect of it. It hurts relationships in that way. But it physically can give you ED because it's literally called porn-induced erectile dysfunction. You should Google it. If you get so accustomed to the novelty and novelty seeking and thrill of pornography and the effect of it, you're not going to be able to get hard in real life. It's a real thing. Because that woman, whatever she's doing, that act is not enough for you. It's got to be freakier. It's got to be more women, bigger body parts, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Of pornography. A real woman, like without getting graphic, she's only one person, and maybe she wants to do something sexual, maybe she doesn't. Porn is, you could have 100 different women in one sitting doing anything, that whatever niche or idiosyncratic thing a person might be into, it's there. And so I think that novelty combined with that availability, it makes it so that, when you think about courting a woman, juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree here. Look, ultimately, I'm done reacting to this video. This is a great video. I wanted to stay away from some certain touchy topics that could get me in some trouble in hot water. But I think to me, it seems like this guy, on his face, has good intentions. He's labeled an extremist. I think free speech is important. I just wanted to react to this video and give my stance on certain topics.